Okay, we're gonna start from the background to foreground. This is the fall, then we have a yellowish colors of the leaves everywhere. I start with the lightest yellow that I have in the background, and I'm adding the dots of yellow behind the trees. If you don't have very light yellow, use of the yellow and white next to each other. The dots has to be very close to each other, and making a yellowish atmosphere behind trees. After that, for making the leaves, I'm looking of this as a bunch of the leaves. Then I'm using of the darker yellow and start to look at them as a form. Each bunch of the leaves has a lighter value in the top, medium in the uh, middle, and darker value in the bottom of this. I'm starting with the values, the yellow that it's a little darker than our background in the top, orangish colors coming in the medium. It's a transition between light and dark, then don't make a line between these colors. Remember, with your dots, have a blend the light to medium. And for the darker part is that I'm using of the red colors and purple colors. Be very creative in your colors. Again, you don't have to follow my colors. I'm using of the contrast, more contrast for the colors that they are closer to us. Then when I'm working on the trees that they are closer to us, I'm using of the more contrast on my colors. Then darker purple in the right side that we have shadow, and I'm using of the yellow in the light part, and between them it's gonna be some kind of the reddish and orangish colors. For adding more dark to the right side, I'm using of blue and dark brown. Then as much as I'm adding these two colors next to each other, I have a darker value. Then that's why that you see in the closest one to us, I'm using of the dark blue and dark brown to make a contrast. And yeah, the reddish is gonna come to the medium colors, the red and orange, and in the left side that it's right, it's a yellow and some white. We have a dark spot in the trunk that I'm using of the more dark blue for these spots, and I'm adding the dark brown on top of this for these details. The color of the trees that are closer to water, it's almost the same, but because of the reflection of water on them, I'm adding a little cerulean blue and white in the left side of them for the lighter value. The color that I'm choosing is a reflection of what I see around them, and for the trees in the right side mostly is reflection of the floor part, the earth part, and for the left part it's mostly the reflection of uh, water in the lighter part. For the creating the leaves, remember that we are using of the leaves, we are looking of them as a bunch of the leaves, not individually. Again, I want you remember it, emphasize on this, that each bunch of these leaves